What's going on, guys, and welcome back into the film room. Today we're going to be breaking down another 30-plus point performance out of this Cowboys offense, talking about what they did that hurt our chances this week early on, and how they were able to adjust and able to give us a chance late in this game. Getting into it, I think it's fitting to talk about the offensive line and the adjustments that were made at halftime to help give this team a fighting chance. Starting out in this game, the Cowboys O-line featured last week's starters with Knight at left tackle, Williams at left guard, Looney at center, Martin at right guard, and Steele at right tackle. Early on, Kellen Moore seemed fine with not giving Seattle pass rush a chance to get home and was calling mostly underneath plays, quick little routes, just anything to get the ball out of Dak's hands quicker. Some of these underneath routes and plays led to a few third downs, but Dak was 3 of 4 in the opening drive when passing on third down, so we were able to convert for the most part and get ourselves out of those sticky situations. The drive ended up stalling out on the opener for a field goal after a first down run and some miscommunication between Dak and his receivers on the ensuing second and third down. And I was fine with this approach to the game early on, considering Terrence Steele just could not give Dak enough time to actually scan the field and start pushing the ball downfield a little bit more. I was fine early on while Seattle had fresh legs to just kind of sit back and let Dak get the ball off quick. But it just became too much of a problem for Dak and the coaching staff to handle when we were down 15 early in the second half and in need of some plays down the field, So after 2 poor drives to start the second half, we finally made some changes on the offensive line. Looney and Martin each shifted a spot to the right, and the rookie Tyler Biadasz was brought in at center. I think this actually provided a boost in confidence that Dak really needed to start pushing the ball down the field. With Zach Martin out there at the right tackle spot instead of Terrence Steele, Dak's mind may not have been flustered, or he may not have had as much of a timer in his head to get the ball off quicker. And this literally showed right away when this unit's first play gave Dak a clean pocket backed up in their own end zone, and he was able to comfortably drop a dime to Gallup deep down the sideline for 52 yards. 2 plays later, another clean pocket gave Dak time to allow for Cedric Wilson's crosser to open up down the field. He was able to thread one in there in stride in what led to a touchdown. Overall, throughout the second half, Looney and Biadasz I thought held their own, but man, Zach Martin was excellent at right tackle. You would have never thought Martin was a guard with how he moved in his pass pro. His lateral quickness looked next level, and his strength wasn't diminished in his glide steps as he stopped opposing pass rushers in their tracks on multiple occasions. I know we get Tyron back this week against Cleveland, so Martin's stint at tackle is likely over for now, and probably for the best because he is a beast at guard, as we all know. But man, was it cool to see just how versatile this future Hall of Famer is. Next, I want to talk about how great this pass attack was once again in terms of the performances from Dak Prescott and the receiving corps. It really seems like each one of these receivers in this receiving room can step up and make a play at any time to impact the game. Last week, guys like Dalton Schultz from the tight end spot and Noah Brown, our 5th wide receiver, came up big at points to help push that comeback. This week, it was the Cedric Wilson show to get us back into this game. He just shows how deep this wide receiver room is, racking up over 100 yards and 2 scores in this one. Michael Gallup as well, in a game that we've been waiting to see out of him, hauled in 6 catches for $138 and a score. I feel like because Gallup is such a great deep ball threat, that throughout this year so far, and especially so in the first half in Seattle, it was hard for many of his routes to get a chance to develop with how banged up this O-line has been. After making the changes up front we needed in the second half, Gallup was able to thrive immediately, hauling in multiple catches down the field for huge gains, and one for a score that would have tied the game if not for a failed 2-point attempt. As a whole, these receivers once again did a great job finding the soft spots in the zone, helping drive this offense down the field on long, sustaining drives to give this team a chance. Speaking on Dak, I thought he did another really good job this week being decisive in his decision-making and making the right reads often. He was often accurate on his passes down the field and made some big-time throws to give this team a chance late, and especially so on those long drives that resulted in scores. I felt as if he was certainly to blame for 2 of his 3 turnovers. On the fumble play, he needs to get the ball off quicker, and his first interception was a throw that I'm sure he'd like to have back. Shaq Griffin showed excellent use of a trail technique and was able to haul in a slightly underthrown ball. The last pick I really refused to get on Dak about. The game would have been over if he were sacked. And at that point, he was really just giving his team a chance. I do think it is likely we win the game without the first 2 turnovers from Dak. But at the same time, I think the game was even close in the second half because of those 3 long drives by Dak. As a whole, super excited with this passing attack and the records that are likely to be broken this season along with it. Building off this, I was a bit thrown off by how, despite how effective our receiving core has been at fighting space against zone, Zeke Elliott still shared the team lead in targets with Amari Cooper at 12. It feels almost like this coaching staff feels obliged to get Zeke involved in the game plan because of his paycheck, even if it ends up being detrimental to the offense's success. And of course, I do not think it is usually detrimental to get Zeke involved, but this week it was. Zeke only rushed for 34 yards on 14 attempts and was often getting stuffed at the line. And he only hauled in 6 of his 12 targets for 24 yards with multiple drops. It's one thing if the running game can't get going, but to then insist upon still trying to get him involved in the passing game against a Seattle defense where their strength is their linebackers, it just didn't add up. We know the Seattle's biggest weapon on their defense is KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner, and of course Jamal Adams, who shows versatility in that linebacking range as well, and will come down and make plays in the flats on plays like we were trying to do with Zeke. I don't know why Kellen Moore decided to try and attack this as often as he did. Screens never worked as the likes of Terrence Steele and Joe Looney stood no chance at beating KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner to the second level. There were a couple of designed quick throws to Zeke in the flat that were easily picked up nearly every time by Wright and Wagner, but yet we were still insistent on testing them late in the game. I like getting Zeke involved, and by no means am I anti-Zeke, but against this Seattle defense, there is just no sense to be found in the amount of involvement that he had this week in the passing game. Aside from Dak's first 2 turnovers, I felt this was another great outing from the offense. We moved the ball in drives of 94 yards and 89 yards for touchdowns with a completely thrown together offensive line, and we still found a way to take the lead with 4 minutes left. This was a game we easily could have won. We were a 4th of 3 stop away from winning this ball game. With Tyron coming back this week, I really expect this offense to continue its streak of 30-plus point outings and put together another high-flying, up-tempo offensive clinic. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by and taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to check out the defensive breakdown we posted earlier this week, taking a look at the defense versus Seattle. Also, feel free to like and subscribe and comment below how many yards you think Dak is going to end up with this season through the air. He's on pace for 6,336. Just a little fun thing to look at right there. And be sure to check out our website, cowboysfilmroom.com. We post weekly articles breaking down previous games as well as taking a look at our upcoming matchups. Lastly, definitely follow us on Instagram and Twitter for daily posts showing Cowboys highlights and film breakdown, as well as talking anything Cowboys football. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by once again and staying until the end of the video, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow's video where we get into previewing this week's matchup against the Browns. See ya.